Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I am really glad it's Friday, and I hope you're excited about the weekend too. So let's dive in here. I'm going to go over the content area section of the final PPE report in this recording. And I'm going to start off with the following screen. So I clicked on Final PPE Report Instructions, just so you know that's where I'm at here. I'm going to scroll down to the content areas. All right, so here's our overview of the content areas. So you are going to be addressing 5 content areas within the final PPE report. And the content areas, let me scroll back up here at this link, content areas and interview questions. And I'm going to go over those in a little bit here as well to provide you with some further guidance on them. So anyways, there's a link there as well if you need that. Okay, so for each content area, you're going to be writing an essay, an informative essay that is 2 to 3 pages, double spaced. And here's a little definition for you of what an informative essay is. It is an academic paper that aims to inform the target audience. And your target audience is me, your HIM 4556 instructor, so that is the seminar course. And you should imagine that I know nothing or very little about your content area when you're writing, okay? And it's okay to use first person when you're writing. I want this to be kind of, a blend of you kind of reporting on your experience and also, maybe some factual stuff that you learned while meeting with individuals and learning more information about these content areas. All right, you're going to use the instructions that are below, and we'll go over those. And I also have some writing prompts below that you're going to use to guide your writing. And of course, pay close attention to your grammar, your spelling. The most important thing really about these content areas is I'm going to be looking at comprehension. So how well do you understand this content area? And I'm also going to be looking at the depth of your thoughts, your critical thinking, and take that all into consideration as I grade, okay? So be sure to use that grading rubric that is also below, okay? All right, so let's dive in here. So I am going to be looking at every paragraph. You should provide some relevant background on the purpose of the essay. I want you to make a clear statement of the overall point you want to make in the essay. So what is it that you're trying to convey to your audience, to me, your instructor? And then I want you to clearly and thoroughly explain the content area. So give that background information on what it is, whether it's a person, a role, a process, a project, or a policy, whatever it is, explain it. This is probably also, these content area essays are probably also an exercise in writing clearly and succinctly. It's going to be important for you to condense what you're writing into those 2 to 3 pages, but also keeping it clear and concise within your paragraphs as well, okay? All right, so in the body of the document, of the essay, you're going to explain the content area you chose by addressing 2 to 3 writing prompts from below. And of course, you can address more if you need to. It's totally up to you, but you must address 2 to 3 of them, okay? And each paragraph should provide information that supports the overall point you want to make in the essay. So back up here to your introduction, keep that in mind. I'm going to be looking at, everything kind of flows back to that. You should use appropriate, relevant, and compelling information to illustrate your mastery of the subject and your understanding of the content area, okay? So explain, 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 and elaborate, all right? Then you should always, for each of these, explain the relationship of the content area to HIM course content. So you're going to answer the question, how did your exploration of the content area connect to your academic work? You need to provide 2 examples of the course content from readings, assignments, projects, presentations, lectures, etc. And this is not just this PPE course. This is all the way back to HIM 2110 and 2111. If you were in the program and took those courses, all the way to the beginning of where, wherever you started here, okay? But you need to relate it back to coursework, okay? And that's part of you demonstrating your comprehension, your understanding, and to demonstrate that you know what you're talking about here, okay? All right, and then I'm going to be looking for a conclusion paragraph where you summarize the information you shared. So for this, 1 to 2 sentences to just clearly and concisely, describe what you shared. And then share your concluding thoughts on the content area. So these can be positive thoughts, negative thoughts. I'd like to, if you do have negative thoughts about the content area, let's flip it around and, let's reframe it a little bit and see what we could do to make it positive. And maybe this is an area where maybe you're making a recommendation or a suggestion on ways to improve this content area, or maybe there's resources the organization should check out. So this is kind of your concluding thoughts on the content area and what you really think about it, okay? All right, and then you're writing prompts. I'm not going to go through all of these. I really want you to read them and know them. This is important to understand when you're going into these meetings and when you're beginning your PPE, so that you know what you need to address, right? When you meet with somebody, and maybe this is, okay, let's just pick, for example, you're going to be meeting with the HIPAA privacy officer, and you know that that's one of the content areas you want to write about because you're really interested in becoming a HIPAA privacy officer. I would make sure you excuse me, I would make sure that you know these writing prompts, okay, so that you can address some of these things. So, who's involved with the content area, who's impacted by the content area, who's leading the content area, those kinds of things. Well, it's maybe for the HIPAA privacy officer who's leading it, it's very, but who else is involved with HIPAA privacy? Is there other staff that support the HIPAA privacy officer? How are privacy violations reported in? And then where it says who's impacted by the content area or role, well, is it, obviously patients, but then it's important to explain and elaborate on that. How are they impacted? Okay, so I'm just, that's one example, but I want you to familiarize yourself very well with these. And I did explain here at the bottom, there's 2 bullet points here. I'm highlighting them that refer back up here to this last one, provide to, how does it relate back to course content and that kind of thing. I just kind of spelled those out a little bit more here to maybe just help you think about it a little bit differently, okay? Oh, wait. It's just this one, sorry. All right, okay, and then let's talk about the rubric a little bit. So, like I said, I'm going to be looking for the depth of your assessment or your view of that content area. At this point, you're all, in your last year, you should be writing at a 3 or a 4 at this point. And so it's really important that you read through these rubrics carefully and make sure that you're, explaining yourself very well in a thorough manner, okay? And so I'm not going to, of course, read through these again, but I'm going to give you a score on each content area. And it's just really important to elaborate on saying and in order to demonstrate your full mastery and understanding of the content area, okay? Now, if you're at the site and you're just like, I don't know if this is a content area I could address or not, drop me an email. It's not a big deal. But really, kind of the sky's the limit. I want this PPE to be yours, and I want you to be able to explore the things that are interesting to you, okay? Just keep in mind it's a management internship, and so I don't really want you writing about, filing. That's not, something I would want you to write about, or the lunchroom. You need to you need to select something that's very relevant and that you can obviously wrap around to your course content and what you've learned previously. Okay? All right, and then just quickly, I'm going to hop over to the template that I shared with you in my last recording. So here's that table of contents, and this is how you could potentially lay out the content areas in your table of contents. So I just picked 5 here that just really off the top of my head. So data government processes, HIPAA privacy officer role. Maybe you want to talk about the EHR that the organization is using, and maybe, the EHR is huge. So maybe you want to drill down, and maybe this is, oh, of course, maybe this is just the HIM application for deficiencies. 2 to 3 pages, double space is not really that much, and so you want to really think um, about that. And then I picked a patient portal, and then maybe you experience some office politics while you're there, or maybe you experience or get invited to attend a disciplinary session with an employee, which is very rare but has happened in the past. Maybe you want to talk about that. And so like I said, sky's the limit on these content areas, and have fun with it, okay? All right, that's it. Have a great Friday and enjoy your weekend. I'll have more recordings next week. All right, bye.